Yeah, this is Billiam. There's a second live-action Ben 10 movie. After the finale of the original Ben 10 show, Cartoon Network aired a live-action made-for-TV movie, Ben 10 Race Against Time. And while it really didn't have the best production value, it had this whimsical Spy Kids-type charm to it that actually worked in its own way. Yet when the show's sequel, Ben 10 Alien Force, had a darker tone and aged the characters up into their teenage years, the follow-up live-action film, which aired 2 years later, Ben 10 Alien Swarm, followed suit. With more drama and a darker tone, like literally a desaturated, darker tone. With a much larger budget than the first, a lot of the times the sequel looks better than its predecessor, but unlike the original film, which seems to be in the original show's tonal world, I feel Alien Swarm is a bit disconnected from the show it's based on.
It's okay, Max.
It's not okay.
But at the same time, it gives us an interesting look into how a DC, CW teen drama style Ben 10 show could be. It's interesting and weird. So let's talk about Ben 10 Alien Swarm. Hey, beardless Billiam here. I've come back from the past to tell you about today's sponsor, Skillshare. And while Skillshare can't teach you how to time travel, Skillshare does offer thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people. It's a learning community with professionally led classes on topics like photography, design, video, freelancing, and more. Here's the thing. Future Billy is stressed. He doesn't have time to put a lot of hours into learning something new, but that's cool because Skillshare classes are designed for busy people of all skill levels, with most classes being under an hour and made up of short lessons, designed to fit any schedule. And speaking of fitting any schedule, I want to recommend the Productivity Masterclass by Thomas Frank. Create a custom system that works. I'm constantly shifting and adjusting my workflow organization based on advice I get and how it works within my own unique workflow. I feel like this is a great start for others like me who have trouble managing productivity, and I haven't learned to manage my productivity yet. So if you're interested in getting lost in your creativity like I have been lost in the past for the past 1 minute, then click on the link in the description. The first 1,000 people to click it will get 30% off of an annual Skillshare membership. Think of all the skills I could have learned if I started learning in the past. Thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. By the time Cartoon Network had started work on a second Ben 10 movie, a few things had changed that made this one different. The first was Ben 10 Alien Force changing the show's setting, and the second was Cartoon Network itself had gone through a major shift. By June 17th, 2009, Cartoon Network had entered into its CN Real era, with the whole lineup of live action and reality TV shows targeted toward a pre-teen, teenage audience. Cartoon Network had a heavier hand in this one's production, but back in the directing chair is honorary Bill Alex Winter. The film had a significantly higher budget than the original, with $40 million being put into it. There was a tight 6-week filming schedule, but a pretty beefy CGI budget, at least for the time. Filming locations were also changed from California to Georgia, so Bellwood is looking a bit different. Because it was filmed so closely to the original, a whole new group of actors was cast to represent their characters in their teenage years, as well as the role of Grandpa Max. So let's get into it. Ben 10 Alien Swarm, the movie event. You know, the FDA actually makes them label it a movie event instead of a regular movie, sort of like cheese versus a processed cheese product. Loosely taking place in between seasons 2 and 3 of Ben 10 Alien Force, the movie follows a similar X-Files style investigative format. Oh my god, it's Kevin's car from the TV show Ben 10 Alien Force in live action. Kevin Levin, the former villain turned team bad boy, is setting up a sting operation. They're trying to bust a black market deal on dangerous alien technology.
What are you selling? Alien technology.
It's the good stuff.
The good stuff.
But things get a little tense when Ben 10 and his cousin Gwen show up.
Who are these jokers, man?
I can't tell you, I'm just the middleman.
One of the dealers, named Elena, immediately recognizes the two.
Elena?
No way.
I love how this is presented as a twist.
No way.
I had to check the Ben 10 wiki to see if I was forgetting who she was. This is her first appearance. Elena's father used to be partnered with Grandpa Max while working with the plumbers.
You mean they're gonna pay for this stuff by fixing my toilet?
I love how they use this same joke in the last movie to explain who the plumbers are.
They're plumbers.
The plumbers? You mean if I absolutely stuffed my toilet and those pipes just busted wide open and the water started flowing down to the apartment below me and I haven't called my landlord yet because water's included in the rent, so it's not really my problem, plumbers? Like you guys could fix a situation like that today, plumbers?
The plumbers are a secret interplanetary security force.
Oh. Well, can you guys at least make the call to my landlord for me? Elena tells Gwen and Ben they are no longer friends because Grandpa Max betrayed her father, who has gone missing. Elena thinks the chips she's carelessly trying to sell may be dangerous. And she's right. It's some evil man wearing an evil cloak and a neutral hat. He starts controlling the nano chips. It's an all-out brawl between our heroes and some chips. Gwen uses her powers in live action. Kevin becomes a rock in live action. Ben transforms into Big Chill in live action, who actually looks pretty great. It's like people don't believe me when I say Mothman exists, but then they call me an idiot when I show them this picture. Looks pretty real to me. And hey, if you're calling me an idiot, that's an ad hominem attack. That's a logical fallacy. Who's the idiot now? It's you. Ben, Kevin, and Gwen head over to the secret underground plumber base located under the auto shop, but
Hey Ben, you going to the game tomorrow?
Ben 10 is so cool, he can't even go to get his car fixed without someone flirting with him.
Just got hit with some serious, homework.
Damn, Ben's a cool guy. Oh my god, it's Elena. Look at this new plumber base. They're just flexing that $40 million, aren't they? Also, I find it funny, this was actually filmed at the Georgia Aquarium, where I actually filmed the greatest video I've ever made. It's a penguin. It's a penguin. That's a penguin. That's a penguin. Grandpa walks in and asks what the gang is up to, but their conversation is cut short when Elena gets caught breaking into the lair.
It's okay, Max. You probably don't recognize her.
It's not okay.
We find out Elena's father stole these chips from the plumbers, and Grandpa sees it as a heavy betrayal. But meanwhile, Elena feels like she and her father have been betrayed and abandoned by Max. Max tells Ben to ignore Elena, but Ben wants to help her, so he goes off against the wishes of Grandpa and Gwen, who warns against breaking plumber ranks.
I order you to stay away from her.
Sorry, Max, I'm not following that order.
But then Gwen and Kevin also go behind Grandpa's back to uncover the truth about the microchips and the falling out between Elena's father and Grandpa Max himself.
You can't break plumber ranks. Break the code.
Better crack that dang G-Dong code.
Like in the original movie, I think Alien Swarm does a pretty okay job filling the roles of these characters. I don't particularly love their performance, but I feel like if they got a chance to play these characters again, which was something that was actually on the table at one point, they would have filled out the roles really nicely, except for Grandpa Max, who we'll get to.
It's not okay.
The bulk of the second act plays out like an investigation. Ben 10 steals his grandpa's motorcycle. He and Elena drive their motorcycles to the last known location of Elena's father. But the cloaked man, who is Elena's father, actually, is waiting for them.
That's a good girl. Bring him here to us.
Has Elena set up a trap for Ben 10? The two discover a bunch of shipping slips, but suddenly it's a trap.
There's too many of them, like they were expecting us. Like this is a trap.
No, I swear it.
The microchips have infected everyone. They're infected, they're being controlled.
They're infected, they're being controlled.
Yeah, they want Ben to meet the queen, and he's like, how about I turn into an alien instead? It won't let him transform into another alien. What do you think this is, a $41 million movie? So they scrounge up a few pennies to give Ben a couple of VFX shots, saving Elena's life and several $1 million. I'm just some guy. I'm not even a chip. Not that I know anything about chips. Meanwhile, Kevin and Gwen are pretty bored, so they're trying to hack into the plumber database. Gwen is played differently than her Alien Force counterpart. She's a bit sassier like younger Gwen is in the original show, which could be how Winter directed the character.
I learned that from watching the Science Channel.
Your depth of knowledge astounds.
But also, she plays up the prep school side of Gwen a lot too, which creates a charming contrast between Gwen and Kevin. I did not like Kevin the first time I watched this movie, but when I watched it again, I realized it had absolutely nothing to do with the performance. He gets the cocky, sarcastic stuff down pretty well.
They were here, Kev. We're too late.
Yeah, that's what I get too.
It's just Kevin's dialogue is also lame.
Beautiful.
She's beautiful. You call a car a she.
Like so f***ing lame.
You're trouble in a jug.
Kevin's supposed to be charming, but oh my god, he's lame.
He just stands around flexing his muscles.
Yeah, how about I flex him in your face?
We learned that Elena's father, Victor, thought the chips were dangerous, but Max thought he was full of and didn't want to do anything about it.
Lab boys say they're nothing but alien tech.
Alien tech that does what? Grandpa. He didn't want to hear any of it. The gang decides to meet up at the Ship It warehouse to investigate the packing slips further, but they're ambushed by some guy. Wait, actually, it's some chips. They turn into some balls. It chases after Kevin Eleven's car from the hit TV show Ben 10 Alien Force, but in live action. I can't believe they destroyed Kevin Eleven's live action car. It had half the screen time so far. Thank God for motorcycles. Then Ben shows up and transforms into Humongosaur. I'm like kind of sad he didn't yell the name like in the cartoon. That's like Humongosaur. That's fun. And hell yeah, it's Ben 10 versus Wheels. A snake. They head back to the plumber's base where Grandpa is still skeptical of the chips being dangerous, despite now being told the same thing by Kevin, Gwen, and Ben.
I'm gonna dissect these chips to see what they're made of.
Excuse me? You never even examined the chips? Grandpa literally betrayed his best friend just because he didn't feel like running a super quick analysis of them. Like, it doesn't even take them the afternoon to finish the analysis. The central character conflict of this movie event is the ever-changing dynamics of trust between Grandpa Max, Ben, Gwen, and Kevin, and Elena. The kids think Grandpa Max may just be having his judgment clouded because he was so hurt by the apparent betrayal of Elena's father. And Grandpa Max thinks Ben just has a crush on Elena, and Kevin and Gwen are caught somewhere in the middle.
Elena was Ben's first crush.
With tension between our group of protagonists being a major plot point, there's a lot more melodrama in this one. They're arguing a lot, and they talk a lot about Grandpa Max being their superior officer in the plumbers, and that Ben is being rebellious by going against ranks. But Ben is not technically a plumber, and Grandpa Max has never been positioned to be his superior officer. Between going against plumber ranks and Ben stealing his grandpa's motorcycle, I feel like they're writing Ben with some bad boy twang. He and Elena go off and do their motorbike courtship dance. Strange that there's no mention of Ben's girlfriend Julie in this film. There's a delightful whimsy to the original film's cheese, and at times that charm carries through to this film.
Is it time? Oh yeah, pal, it's time. Time for you to give us your money.
Take this scene when Victor recruits some new people to the nanochip horde.
We're talking to you, Looney Tunes. Don't you know this is a bad part of town? You whiny fool.
Just beautiful work. However, amongst the characters we already know, they're going for a more dramatic tone, which causes some of the scenes to be more boring than they have to be. Like when the nanochip zombies push Ben and Elena to their backs. I feel like Ben should have come up with something really f***ing stupid that turned out to be clever to get out of here. I know people can be overly critical of how teens are supposed to talk in movies, but seriously, how old were some of the people who wrote this dialogue?
Like this is a trap.
No, I swear it.
Like 90 years old?
Because you're not coming with us. You're trouble in a jug.
F***ing 200 years old? She's trouble in a jug. I'm gonna start using that. There's a lot of focus, too much focus, on this disagreement about helping Elena and whether or not she should be trusted. For some reason, both times watching this movie, I was actually irritated during all of the disagreements with Grandpa Max. He's just so uncharacteristically stubborn. Even after the gang says they know the fact that the chips are dangerous, he's skeptical. Like when Daphne, Fred, and Velma don't believe that Scooby and Shaggy saw a monster even though they run into a monster like every f***ing week. Grandpa Max is patient, kind, and above all else, he always gives people in his life important to him the benefit of the doubt. But here he's kind of demanding and unwilling to really explain his point of view.
Stay away from her. The Validus family is blacklisted. There can be no interaction between them and the plumbers.
He hasn't even analyzed the chips yet. This doesn't really feel like Grandpa Max. In fact, they don't even call him Grandpa Max.
Max, there's something you need to explain.
They're in Max's office.
Sorry, Max, I'm not following that order. I can't even trust Max.
So yeah, this is Grandpa Max. He's the grandfather to Ben and Gwen. This is Max. He just f***ed their grandma. They trace the chips all over the world using plumber radar technology and pick up that there's chips multiplying everywhere. They realize the chips are insect-like and piece together clues to conclude there must be a queen they respond to, and if they locate the queen, they can take down the drones, but oops! Grandpa still didn't have enough concern about the chips to make sure he didn't let one escape, and now he's evil.
Mankind is finished.
They realize the chips have a higher population density in all major cities around the world, and for some reason this one random place in Missouri, and it happens that's where Ship It headquarters is located. Kevin gives Ben a new car in live action, and they head off to Missouri, which was filmed on location in Georgia. The Queen is inside of Elena's dad, who's creating more chips to be mailed out around the world to totally infect Earth.
That's not my dad. He's become some kind of freak.
They break in, and Ben turns into a brand new alien, Nanomech. Who? Where's live-action Cannonbolt? Despite the larger budget, we only get 3 alien transformations as opposed to the 4 in the original movie. There's a scene with Big Chill at the beginning, which looks pretty good. Mothman freezing some stuff. The Humongosaur fight, a lot of it looks pretty good. A whole lot more effort was put into the environmental effects, but they keep cutting away from Humongosaur, and the fight ends with this really janky edit where he uses Kevin's car as a weapon. I have come to the conclusion that nanochips were a good choice for an enemy for this movie. They're kind of like little transformers. They morph into different objects, and it allows for a lot of variety with the action. The Nanomech fight is just a mess of graphics, like they just blended a bunch of PS1 games together. But Ben beats the out of the Queen. I do think Nanomech is an okay Ben 10 alien. He's this little chip-sized guy who can shrink and shrink. And while he does show up again in Ben 10 Ultimate Alien, I just don't think revealing a new alien in a live-action movie is the best idea. The cool thing about seeing a live-action version of an animated or illustrated property is seeing it realized in a 3-dimensional space. This final fight would have been much more exciting if Ben just pulled out literally any of the aliens we already knew. Like, it could have cast Flubber as Goop. It would have been awesome. You could have had the whole area covered in green slime. It would have been a fun, goo-filled finale, a gooey finale. Instead, we get PlayStation 1 Ben 10.
I can easily defeat any puny drone.
Nanomech makes it feel like there's only 2 of Ben's aliens in this movie, and that's kind of disappointing because I do feel like the appeal to a TV movie like this is the novelty aspect of seeing the characters we know in 3D. The Queen is destroyed and everyone is saved. Grandpa says, oopsie doopsie. Then he tells Ben he wants him to take over and be in charge of the plumbers. But Ben 10's like, no, do your own job, you lazy grandmother f***er. Elena's like, ha ha ha, I guess I'm part of the team now. And Gwen's like,
You're not on the team.
Gwen's right about that one. While the original film was fun for its charm, there's a lot more excitement to this one. But between the hacking montages, guitar riff soundtrack, Transformer-like villains, and also from Transformers, just a gratuitous number of like vehicle shots. Kevin's car, the motorcycle, Ben's new car. When this movie came out, I would have thought it was lame. But you know what? Now, watching this movie try too hard to be cool at a particular time, it's got this time capsule quality to it. I'm glad I watched it. I mean, it's a TV movie. No, it's an event. It's worth the 1-hour runtime if you like Ben 10. I do wish they followed through with the plans to do a second, and apparently, according to the Ink Tank's interview with Ryan Kelley, thank you, Kuro, for pointing this out to me, they were even planning on doing a 3rd one potentially. I really feel like they could have made this a really fun series, and it was actually a huge hit for Cartoon Network too. But the shakeup that led into Cartoon Network's live action era kept shaking, and the newer direction the channel was going into didn't prioritize $40 million for a live action TV movie. And let me tell you ever try making a sequel to a $40 million movie without $40 million? That's just trouble in a jug right there. All right, I fulfilled my promise to use it. I don't ever have to say that again. So anyways, I'm tired. I'm stressed. I'll see you soon. Whoa, 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 the plumbers? You mean if I absolutely stuffed my toilet and those pipes just busted wide open and the water started flowing down to the apartment below me and I haven't called my landlord yet because water's included, so... Ah! Whoa, whoa, whoa.